If you're new to stock photography and want to start selling your photos on one of the fastest upcoming stock sites, or if you're just looking where to go now that you've mastered Shutterstock or Istock, then this is the video for you. During this episode, I'm going to lay out how to sign up for Adobe Stock, the Adobe ID, how to create a new account, the requirements to create the account, and the requirements to upload photos, then the process and the ways that you can upload to Adobe. So let's get started. As many of you know or don't know, Adobe Stock is one of the fastest growing stock photography agencies. If you follow any regular stock photography producer that reports their income, you'll notice all of them are starting to say the same thing, that slightly higher revenue per sale and more consistent sales on Adobe is leading it to quickly become one of their go-to stock agencies. So let's talk about the requirements to sign up for Adobe Stock. First is the age requirement. You must be 18 years old to submit content to an Adobe Stock account. I've got this question a lot on my Shutterstock video, so to go ahead and answer the question, yes, you have to be 18. Also, you have to have an Adobe ID. You can create an Adobe ID or use an existing ID to access the portal. Also, if you stay tuned to the end of this video, I will go over some tips and tricks on keywording on Adobe Stock, as they're a little bit different from other agencies. Once you've created your ID, it's time to submit images. They must be submitted in JPEG format, use color space sRGB, and the minimal image resolution must be 4 megapixels. The maximum image resolution must be under 100 megapixels, and file size cannot be more than 45 megabytes. Remember, no watermarks, timestamps, and do not upsample your files. Submit the maximum file size that your camera can produce. How to set up an Adobe contributor account. Sign into Adobe, visit the contributor portal, and sign in with your Adobe ID. If you don't have an Adobe ID, sign up for one first. Next, you're asked if you were a Fotolia contributor. If you were, click Sync My Fotolia account, and you will be prompted to enter your Fotolia login credentials to sync with Adobe Stock. If you weren't a Fotolia contributor, proceed to the next step. Click the Upload button and you are ready to begin. Very simple. There are several quick ways to upload content to Adobe. You can upload your photos, illustrations, and vector art to Adobe Stock from the Adobe Stock Contributor portal, or directly through Lightroom Classic or an FTP uploader like Xpix. I will link Xpix demonstration here for you if you're not familiar with that software. So for using option 1 to upload your images via the contributor portal, visit contributor.stock.adobe and select upload in the header, and then the contributor portal, then drag and drop the photos, illustrations, or vectors you want to submit. Alternatively, select Browse to locate your files, then select Choose. Option 2, upload your content through Lightroom Classic. In Lightroom Classic library mode, select the photos you want to upload to Adobe Stock and drag them into the Adobe Stock Publish collection. Finalize your submission in the contributor portal. Option 3 is to use an FTP uploader. Again, if you didn't click on the card, I've included a link in the description below on how to upload from Xpix and an FTP uploader. Next, we need to go in to add the metadata and to make sure it gives a nice descriptive title. You can add up to 50 keywords, 5 being the minimum. It's important to note that Adobe puts more emphasis on keyword order than other sites, so use your best keywords first. Also select your subject type, and if needed, add model releases, as Adobe does not allow editorial content. Hit submit. In a few days, you will get a notification if it's been accepted or rejected, and then you just have to wait for the money to come in. Alright, thank you for watching this far. If you haven't already, go ahead and like this video and subscribe to my channel for more stock photography tips and tricks. So if we're this far into the video, you're obviously wanting some keywording how-to through Adobe Stock. The first tip that I can offer is one that I already mentioned in the video. Unlike many other stock photography agencies, Adobe Stock places emphasis on keyword order, so lead with the strongest keyword that you have. Tip number 2, if you're using their keyword generator, don't just take the 25 that they've suggested. Go in and scrub those for relevance. Tip number 3, Adobe's titles are not searchable. So if there's a word in there that's important enough to have in the title, add it to your keywords. Tip 4, use singular nouns, as plurals will automatically be applicable. Next, use verbs to describe the action. After describing basic elements, describe contextual elements, like moods or trends. If there are people in your image, use keywords like age or ethnicity to help stand out further. If there are no people, put no people. Also, indicate relationship, like a couple, single, teacher, musician. Describe their facial expression, if they're really happy or if they're sad and solemn. But describe that. Call out appearances of clothing and hairstyles. For animals and objects, always use the most appropriate title or subject. If it's a dog, what type of dog? Is it a Dalmatian, a Doberman, a German Shepherd? Use those type of keywords. For objects, you can talk about object arrangement. Are they in a line? Are they stacked? Are they in a grid? Things to avoid. Do not use brand names or technical description. Don't use Nike, Adidas, Hoka. Don't say 12 megapixels, 128 gigabytes. Avoid those type of keywords. And don't spam keywords. Adobe can actually penalize you for using multiples of the same keyword. Thank you for watching another episode of The Hustle Report, where if it's worth doing, it's worth doing for money. Thank you.